If I stopped training today, how long would it actually take before I started to lose muscle? That's a question I've often asked myself whenever I get really sick or miss a week of training. And I swear, after just a few days, I always feel like I'm smaller, flatter, like I lost 10 pounds of muscle overnight. But is that real muscle loss, or is it just in my head? To answer this question, I did what anyone else would. And to my surprise, there weren't many studies on experienced lifters who stopped lifting altogether and tracked muscle loss over time. Most of the studies either involved untrained people or were short-term. One of the few studies I did find was from 2020, and it followed 21 adolescent athletes who trained for 12 weeks, then stopped completely for 3 weeks. The result, there was no significant changes in muscle mass, strength, or athletic performance. Well, there's our answer, clear cut. No further questions, Your Honor. Or is there? Well, there are a couple problems for this particular study for me. For one, they were teenagers, which also meant they probably weren't very advanced lifters. And more importantly, they were told to keep their diet consistent before and during the detraining period. But let's be real, when we go on vacation, get sick, or lose our daily routine, both our training and diet fall off. So I was still left wondering, just how fast and how much muscle would I lose if I stopped eating and training like a bodybuilder? And then the perfect experiment kind of just happened. I flew to the Philippines with my girlfriend's family for 1 month. No gym, no diet, no plan, just life.
I can't wait to go.
Living in the Philippines is a very different lifestyle from my daily routine in Canada, obviously. But it made me realize just how privileged I am to even stress about body image when so many people there are just trying to survive. Everything was a contrast. Hot and cold, me prepping all my meals and meticulously tracking, and me eating whatever everyone else was having. Me planning out every aspect of my day and gym routine to go in with the flow and having basically no control over any decision. I had no access to a car or motorbike that I could use. Not that I would even try to drive there. But for the first time since living with my mom, I ate what was served, went where they went, and just lived in the moment.
First time ordering Filipino hotdog. Look at that. They give you rice and fries.
We got pasta, we got spaghetti.
Oh wait, I'll show you. Pasta and rice bowls.
Spaghetti.
I grew up with Filipino food, and I definitely prefer it over my normal diet, but it's not a very bodybuilder friendly diet. The typical Filipino diet has a lot more fats and carbs, rice with everything, which I mean I do here anyways, but also lots of fried dishes and sweet snacks. As for protein, it mostly consists of pork, chicken, and fish, but with all the skin, fat, and bones included, no parts are wasted. So a lot of the cuts of the meat are the fattier portions. While I was there, I didn't want to gain weight, so I often tried to portion control my food as to not overeat. But tracking my food was basically out of the question. I had to rely on my experience and kind of just guess. And I just wanted to enjoy not stressing about exactly how much food I ate or my macros. Except a few days, I was curious to see just how much I was eating, and I realized I was maybe getting 90 to 100 grams of protein per day, if that, which is less than half of what I typically eat. I also didn't take into account just how much more I was moving every day. Every day there was something to do. Walking, exploring, late night street food runs. Even though I wasn't working out, I was definitely burning way more calories than usual. I wasn't tracking macros, I wasn't logging workouts. but I was living. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't obsessed with progress or productivity. It felt like a detachment from the everyday grind that I was currently living. I was able to enjoy life, reflect on my blessings, and enjoy the culture and people. It was all a much needed break for my body and mind. As freeing as it was, every week I could see it. I was getting smaller. Not leaner, not shredded, just deflated. And when I got back home, the numbers confirmed it. These were the results of not training or dieting properly for 33 days. At the time, I was weighing 210 pounds and I wasn't really cutting or bulking. I couldn't make up my mind. I was just kind of eating whatever I felt like, but still making sure I hit my protein goal each day. And I was also training consistently for 6 days a week. And 33 days later, I weighed 190 pounds. I lost 20 pounds total, and yet the amount of fat I had didn't look that different. I didn't look shredded or even any leaner. There was no significant difference in the fat around my stomach or back to even distinguish the before and after. But the 20-pound weight difference means I lost the weight from somewhere. The first obvious conclusion is I lost muscle, and I definitely did lose a lot. But because my diet had changed so much and my activity level had increased, I most likely lost a lot of water weight as well. I mean, I was sweating every minute I wasn't in a place with AC. Still, my overall physique made me feel horrible. I worked so hard, and to look this different in only 1 month was crazy to me. Maybe I wasn't wrong about how much muscle I actually lost every time I got the flu. Muscle loss happens a lot slower than you think, especially if you just decrease your volume instead of cutting out working out altogether. Multiple studies have shown that you can actually maintain your current muscle mass even if you decrease your overall volume by 1/3 or even half of what your normal training volume is. Most train lifters can actually maintain their muscle mass even after 2 to 3 weeks off, especially if they maintain their current diet and protein and incorporate some sort of daily movement. It doesn't even have to be resistance training. It could be simple as going for a walk. And regaining muscle is much faster than you'd expect due to something called muscle memory. Muscle memory is a real documented phenomenon. This is due to the myonuclei you build when training. These are basically the nucleus of the muscle. And what is the nucleus? That's right, the powerhouse of the cell. No, you dummy, that's the mitochondria. But the nucleus is the control center which holds the DNA. And when you stop training and those precious muscles you built start to shrink, those myonuclei you built don't just disappear, at least not as quickly. So when you start training again, you build back that muscle faster because the cellular machinery is already in place. You're not starting from ground zero, you're reactivating a system that's already built. In my case, within just 4 weeks of training and dieting properly again, my weight went back up and my physique filled out. My self-loathing never got any better. But that's a problem for another video. So if you're watching this while on vacation, stuck at home sick, or just burnt out from the grind, don't panic. Missing a few weeks won't erase years of hard work. In fact, that time away might be exactly what your body and mind needs.